Good morning, good morning, good morning. How everybody doing? Elevation Nation Conversations. Good morning, good morning. August 27th. You did what's going on? God Body Shonda. Talk. A little morning motivation and inspiration. How y'all doing, YouTube fam? Before we get started, hit that like, share, subscribe button. The broadcast is gonna get better as we go on. This is just episode 2, second day. So we're gonna get some more technology and some editing and some microphones and things so everything is on point and proper. How y'all doing out there? You did? Today I woke up and I did my little workout and then I went down the street to the lake and walked the lake a little morning inspiration. And I was thinking about talking about a sense of urgency. Moving with a sense of urgency. A lot of people don't understand or don't move with a sense of urgency, and that's very, very key in success, getting things done, accomplishing goals, moving, making things happen. Is moving with a sense of urgency. And I kind of learned that from being in Chicago. I'm from Chicago, and whenever I was moving around in the streets or just walking and things like that, I was always walking fast or just moving like I had something to do and I had somewhere to go. And I don't know, I've just always been like that. Even when I was a little kid, young, I used to like to ride dirt bikes. And I was just always riding, pedaling, moving fast, and just it felt good going fast, and with that wind going past my face and my ears, it just made me feel like I was going somewhere and I was doing something, I was getting something done. And that's translated and transpired into my life. Just always moving with a sense of urgency. I was in LA, doing music, and I was out there, I didn't know anybody. I was out there, I didn't know nobody, didn't know anything out there, but I was trying to get something done, to get something accomplished, and I was doing music and meeting people and doing things like that. I was sent to come out there to LA. When I got out there, I didn't things didn't go right with the little meeting that I was supposed to have, and this and that. So I wound up staying, not knowing nobody, but I was just always moving around with a sense of urgency. I had to let any and everybody know that I do music. I'm from Chicago. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I'm doing, and just moving, not being stagnant, not being complacent. I got me a job while I was out there. I used to work 10, 12 hours a day. Then I would get off there. I would go to the studio. I would go move around, go to open mics and go do things like that. I was moving like tomorrow wasn't promised, because tomorrow really isn't promised. It really isn't. So you do have to move and groove like you got something, like you got something to do. Like, you got somewhere to go. You got something to accomplish. And it works. It helps me. It helped me get things done. I've accomplished a lot by doing that. I've also gotten into some trouble by moving too fast or moving a little too urgently or not having patience. You got to learn patience. That's one key thing I'm still working on is learning patience. But it comes, but a sense of urgency. Got to move with a sense of urgency and like you got something to do, like you got something to accomplish. I write things down. I make a list of things that I want to do, so I can see it and visualize it, and then I just start checking things off by moving towards that path. Like it could be something as simple as getting a car or getting an apartment. You could say in your mind, okay, I want this car. So now you got to start going through the process and moving and seeing what you need to do to get that car. So first thing you got to do is you got to identify how much the car costs. Then you got to identify how much money you make. And then you got to identify what you can put aside and what you got to do to come with the down payment or to buy it cash, and what you got to do to make that money to get that cash. And it's all a process. It's all a process. It's basically moving with a sense of urgency, moving with a process, and it's steps to take. And it's basically like magic. People don't understand that we create and we make things move. We make shit move by moving on it. with a sense of urgency. You know, it's like I said, it's as simple as thinking about something you want, and then now you got to reverse engineer it and go through the process and see what it takes to get that. Everything comes with a process. Like when I wanted to make music, I had to figure out the first thing. The first thing was, okay, where can I get some music from? You know, once I get the music, now I got to sit down and think about what I want to write about, what I want to put to the music, what I want to put to the track. Then I got to start writing it. You know, I got to see it and I got to write it. I got to write it to the music. Now I got to find a studio. Where's the studio that I can go to? How much that studio costs? Book the studio time. You got to move on it and go to the studio. You really got to be focused on what you want to do, and you got to be intentional. So now you got to go to the studio. You got to believe in yourself first of all, but you got to go to the studio now. Now you got to put your music down. Now you put your words and your lyrics over the music. You know, you record it, you edit it, you press it up. Now there it go. That whole process might have took a month, but in reality, that's magic. You created this record out of nothing, out of just your thought. Like, our first thought is you got to move on it. And a lot of times, a lot of people get caught up in they'll think about something, they'll have a thought, and then they don't move on it. You know, they say, I get back to it later, or I'll write it down later, and they'll forget about it. Never get back to it because they didn't move with a sense of urgency. A good example was a couple years ago. Well, not a couple years ago, maybe I don't know, 7, 8 years ago. I had an idea of having a kind of like a DoorDash thing, but it was DoorDash for liquor and alcohol. I was thinking, man, that'd be a dope concept if people could order liquor off their phone, or alcohol, so they ain't got to be driving drunk or driving out there to go get it, and it could come to them. Nobody was doing that on the market yet. Nobody. And I never moved on it. I didn't have the resources for one, but I didn't have the understanding and the know-how of how to do the technology, how to set up the app, things like that. And I didn't even have the wherewithal, or I didn't move with the sense of urgency to go find somebody that could do the app, or that knew how to do the applications, and knew the process, and could set it up and start moving on it. Next thing you know, years down the line, years later, they got Grizzly and other apps where you could order liquor and they'll deliver that shit to you, and making billions. All because I didn't move with a sense of urgency, and I didn't take action. So you got to take action, man. Got to take action. You got to move with a sense of urgency. Oh, this right here, this is this alkaline water with the chlorine drops in it. You put the chlorine drops in it, and what the chlorine drops do is they help your red blood cells kind of take in and build more oxygen. So I just did my little morning workout this morning, trying to stay consistent. You got to be consistent with whatever you do. You're gonna hit some bumps in the road. You're gonna hit some setbacks and some some roadblocks, but you can't let that stop you. Still got to keep on moving. It's part of a process. You got to go through the process. That's with me with this, with this podcast. I've had this idea for the past 5, 6 years, just being motivation. When I made music, it was called motivation music. Elevation Nation, just always trying to get folks to elevate, keep moving, keep going high, motivate and inspire folks, because I needed motivation and inspiration. And when I was motivating and inspiring others, I was really motivating and inspiring myself. Just me saying and doing things like that, me making the music I was trying to make, it was motivating me and inspiring me. I'm a fuck up. I got some issues, that I'm working on and dealing on. I've been through some things, not perfect at all, but I figure shit, it's a million other men and women going through what I'm going through. So we make mistakes, and we get up and dust ourselves off, and we keep moving, we keep progressing, keep building and growing and developing. And that's how I've gotten a couple things done that I wanted to do, is just staying motivated, trusting the process, and moving on it. Never stopping. motivating myself. So it's just like with this podcast. I've been procrastinating about trying to do this and doing this for years. I figured I didn't have nothing to talk about. Nobody would listen to me, or none of that. I had to get out of that self-doubt. I had to realize that I done did some shit in my life. I'm still, I'm still doing things. I'm still growing, still building. But I done did some shit. I done did some stuff where I can inspire. I can motivate somebody else. I can drop some games, share some games, show some love to somebody else. And, motivating somebody else is what inspires me. So it's going to get better. Elevation Nation Conversations. Hit that like, subscribe, share button. But the podcast is going to get better. We're going to get some better equipment, some more equipment. Get the editing down. It's going to get better. Moving with a sense of urgency. Trying to be consistent with it. Do this maybe every 2 days, because in the midst of all this, I'm back working a job. I got an 8-year-old daughter that I share custody of with her mother. So she's here with me a week at a time, and then she's with her mother for a week at a time. So in the midst of working, taking care of her, making sure I'm being intentional with her and pouring into her, making sure that she's, growing up healthy and happy and, engaged and, trying to do better with her than I did with my son or, with myself and just learning. But in the midst of all that, I'm still trying to be consistent with this podcast, So right now, we're gonna do something like this. we're gonna take a music break and just, kick it a little bit. I got some music I want to play. It inspired me, so I know it's inspiring, other folks. It's a record I did years ago called I'm Winning. Sometimes you gotta sit back, you gotta look at where you come from and what you've been through and where you at right now. You gotta say, shit, I'm winning. You might not be where you at, where you want to go, but you're gonna get there. So sometimes you just gotta say, fuck it, I'm winning. So we're gonna play a record. This is my record, made it years ago. It's called Sean Barnes, I'm Winning. Take a little music pause break, vibe out a little bit. While I think of some more stuff to talk about. I'm still getting used to talking on camera and doing this, so keep it going. Check it out. I'm winning. I don't know if y'all can hear that. I hope y'all could. I'm gonna check it on the playback, see if I can hear it. If not, I'll do a better job next time. I'll get some equipment so we can hear the music and we can vibe out and the podcast will be getting better. But that was a motivational song a record that I made years ago, just called I'm Winning. I was trying to inspire myself to say, yeah, you ain't where you want to be. You started out late as far as getting legit, doing shit the right way, and I just said, you know what, I'm winning though. I'm not locked up, I'm not dead. I made it out of Chicago. I made it through some bullshit, and I'm winning. I done accomplished some things, so I was just inspiring myself. So hopefully, by me inspiring myself, I inspire somebody else. And all that, all the albums, all the music that I made, the trucking company that I did, the little Airbnb thing that I was doing, all of those things happened with me moving with a sense of urgency. You know, just a sense of I got to get it done. You know what you know about that? That's the catchphrase. We're gonna make that catch on. What you know about that? You're dropping game when you're showing love. You know, that's the catchphrase. What you know about that? We'll share that. But that's how I got that album accomplished. Just moving with a sense of urgency, even when I wasn't feeling like doing it. I was doubting myself, going through problems as far as getting music, getting producers. Still kept moving with a sense of urgency. You know, tomorrow is not promised. That was how I started dealing with some artists in LA and in Atlanta. In LA, shit, I was being managed by Layla Steinberg. You can Google her name. You know, we got the photos in the books. You know, for proof or whatever. But she was the lady that discovered Tupac. She took him over to Adrian Gregory, and he introduced Tupac to Digital Underground, and that's how he got started moving and grooving. And when I was in LA from 2000 to like 2000 and maybe 8 or 9, that's how I ran into Layla Steinberg. She was talking on a radio station in LA, and I'm listening to the radio station. One of my homeboys told me about this local radio station, and I just started listening to the radio station, and she was on there talking. They was interviewing her, and she gave her phone number out. She gave her phone number out on the radio, and I was like, shit, it's a sense of urgency. She gave that phone number out. Man, I was calling that damn number 10, 20 times a day, leaving messages, sending text messages, all that. My name's Sean Barnes. I'm from Chicago. I do music. I do motivational music. I'm trying to inspire folks. I got some dope shit. I'm an artist. I want to work with you. Woo, woo, woo. Kept leaving messages. And she finally hit me back. And she said that was one of the reasons why she hit me back, because I was hitting her up with a sense of urgency. You know, I wanted to handle business. I wanted to show, look, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm manifesting. This is what I'm doing. And we linked up. She started, working with me, doing music, introducing me around to different people. And that's kind of how I got moving around in the industry in LA. Didn't know a soul, didn't know nobody. But I was out there moving with a sense of urgency. And I was out there just showing love and being respectful. I wasn't out there on some, rah-rah, on some, I'm this big bad motherfucker and woo-woo-woo trying to be the biggest gangster and all that. None of that. I was out there, look, I done changed my life. I'm not selling dope no more. I'm not gang banging. I'm doing music. I'm doing music with a sense of urgency. And this is what I'm rocking. And that the energy you put out is the energy you'll get back. So I was just getting good energy when I was out there in LA. I worked with Badass. I was in the studio with George Clinton. I was in the studio with a producer named Focus. And Focus is one of Dr. Dre's producers. So he works with Dr. Dre. He's basically like an in-house producer. And what he'll do, he'll produce tracks and things like that. And then he'll give them to Dr. Dre. And then Dr. Dre will put his little, he'll sprinkle his little game on it and things like that. And, so he was like an in-house producer for Dr. Dre. So I was like fucking 2 steps away from dealing with Dr. Dre. Let me see who else. I was rocking with Yuck Mouth from the Loonies. I met him in North Hollywood. He picked me up in a fucking Dodge Magnum, banging me some music. He was took me to his crib. We was working on some music. I met him. I met there was a couple other guys that came to the crib. Eastwood, he was signed with Death Row, and met him. And it was all kind of like full circle, because when I came out to LA, I came out there because Suge Knight wrote me a letter back from jail, because I wrote him a letter while he was in jail, because I got his information out of a Source magazine, and he told me when I get out to LA to holler at his man, and I got out there, and so it's all 7 degrees of separation when you move with a sense of urgency. So all of that came full circle from me writing a letter to Suge Knight while he was in prison, because I got his information out of a Source magazine. He told me to come out to LA. He told me to link up with his man. And after that didn't work out and go, I stayed in LA and I kept moving with a sense of urgency. Wound up meeting Layla Steinberg. through later Steinberg. I met Shot G, rest in peace. I met Johnny J, rest in peace. He was one of Tupac's producers. I met Mutai, which is Napoleon from the Outlaws. I met him. I met Badass. I met rest in peace. I met Yuck Mouth. I met a lot of people just from moving around, putting out good energy, and moving with a sense of urgency and telling folks, look, I do music. I'm from Chicago. This is what I'm about. Having belief and confidence in myself. And the shit worked out. And I've applied that to everything I do in my life. And I wanted to write books. It ain't hard. Move with a sense of urgency on it and kind of reverse engineer everything and see how you go from writing something, how do you get it published, how do you get it on this site and that site and that site. Man, it's as hard as you make it, and it's as easy as you make it. Simple and plain. You just got to move with a sense of urgency and stay on top of it. That's how shit gets done, stay on top of it. That's how I got my trucking company started. I never wanted to drive trucks, but it was just an easy means to an end to make money without going to school and having to spend 3-4 years in school to get a degree to do something. So with trucking, we can get that shit done in 4 weeks. So I started driving trucks, and all while I was driving trucks, my whole mindset was thinking, okay, how can I get my own? How can I work for myself? How can I get my own trucks? What's the process? What's the steps? And I was just kind of thinking about it and going through the steps in the process while I was driving for bigger companies and, working for them. I was learning the game because I knew eventually I was going to get out of this shit and get my own. And I started moving on it step by step, taking it step by step by step, but I was always moving with a sense of urgency. I wasn't never letting one day go by where I wasn't doing something, moving towards getting my own truck, getting my own authority, getting my own DOT number, and getting everything that I need to go that direction. So I've always just moved with a sense of urgency. That's what this was about, inspiring, motivating y'all to move with a sense of urgency. Tomorrow is not promised. Get it done today if you can. Never stop, never quit. Just keep moving on it. Keep moving on it. So we're gonna do an outro on that. It's, Elevation Nation Conversations. We got more to come. God Body Shine. I believe in me. I believe God is in me. The earth is my turf. I manifest. I create magic with my hands. Just by moving on shit. And sometimes you gotta look back and say, I'm winning. You're not where you at yesterday. So it's a win-win. It's all a win. Keep moving. We're gonna keep coming back with some with some episodes, motivating, talking about everything from books, religion, spirituality, food, diet, clothing. Shit, I like to be fresh. Relationships, raising kids. I'm kind of a single father right now, so that's really important to me. Just everything, man. Manhood, ups and downs, mistakes we make as men. Conversating on that. It's just anything that's motivational, man, and inspiring. I'm about that. I'm with that. So keep tapping in, hit that like, share, subscribe button, and I promise you, it's gonna get better as we move on. So I'm out. Salute. I'm winning. You winning. Keep moving with a sense of urgency and make it happen. So we're gonna tap out with a little bit more of one of my records that I did years ago called I'm Winning. It was made to inspire and motivate. You did? What you know about that? Like a CEO of fast lane, my thing is apparatus niggas in the game that is drastic. So I flashed and I'm on my TI, you don't know me, but you'll be out. omega of my destiny, I got it. I said alpha and omega of my destiny, I got it. You get that? I'm the beginning and the end of my destiny, I got it. I'm winning. Let's go.